China's one-child policy has long been viewed in the West as a breach of human rights. Couples have been forced to give their children up for adoption or have been forced to have abortions in order to comply. Officials brutally enforce the law, but Chinese people have become more vocal in their criticism of the law. And now the tragic death of a 13-month-old baby has thrown the issue into the spotlight once again. Mark Dreyer has more.
If you have money or connections in China, you can generally get around the country's infamous one-child policy, but the vast majority of citizens don't have that luxury, and the consequences can be devastating. Chen Liandi and his wife Li Yuhong were recently accused of violating Chinese law by giving birth to a boy, their third child. 11 family planning officials went to their home to demand a fine of more than $5,000, a huge amount for villagers like Chen and Li. Mr. Chen tried to prevent his wife from leaving, but according to official reports, she eventually relented and got in a government car. In the confrontation that followed, the baby fell from his father's arms and was crushed to death by the wheels of one of the group's cars. The incident sparked thousands of residents to protest outside government offices. The two men have since been detained over the baby's death, but angry comments have filled online forums. One post read, "This baby is not the first victim. How many more kids will die before we get rid of the one-child policy?" Another said, "The Family Planning Bureau is just a tool to make money." The one-child policy has been enforced for more than 30 years. It does allow for a second child in some specific circumstances, but a third child is strictly forbidden. The fine levied can be as much as 8 times the average annual income of the family involved, but it's up to local officials to decide on the exact amount. The policy is widely disliked, and extreme cases of enforcement only add fuel to the fire. You might remember last summer when a woman had her 7-month-old fetus aborted against her will because she couldn't pay the fine for having a second child. Graphic photos of the event went viral and sparked renewed calls for change. But earlier this year, the government confirmed the law would remain unchanged to maintain a low birth rate. And while supporters of the policy are in the minority, their voices can be heard online. One person says, "One of the main arguments against it is that the nation will die out. Please do not listen to these alarmist lies which are intended to provoke. Be more rational." Arguments in favour say the policy prevents overpopulation and has boosted economic development, while those against say it has created both an ageing population and a gender imbalance due to the country's preference for boys. Others lament online that the greatest drawback is loneliness. "I wish my parents hadn't obeyed the one-child policy, then I could have had a sibling. Having siblings is so good, and the parents won't feel lonely either." China today arguably has more pressing issues, but the one-child conundrum is always bubbling away just under the surface and is sure to erupt again with the next high-profile incident. For LinkAsia, I'm Mark Dreyer in Beijing.
U.S. airwaves, a global channel of uncompromising stories. World news, documentaries, entertainment, and culture. Link TV, connecting you to the world. For more information, visit linktv.org.